Okay, great. So what you do is take a moment to reflect on what we talked about before. And we talked about is really making, oh, this is noisy, hopefully you can hear it, really making a transformational change in your organizations to move from organizations that are completely based on assessing risks and providing solutions, often professional solutions to those risks. There you go. To organizations that look at risk and resilience. And that requires a change in mindset from the frontline people, but also policies that can support that. So the things that we're talking about is changing the mindset, and this is from the Change in Mind initiative of the National Alliance for Strong Families and Communities. When you get this slide, they have a bunch of online resources, really, really worth looking at. So this looks at risks and strengths. What we talked about, we call change in mindset, is actually technically something called cognitive reframing. But one way to think about it is from the perspective of our patients or clients. We're changing our roles from being a judge. I know there's a retired judge here. I don't mean any disrespect. Changing from being a judge to being a coach. So that a coach believes in her athletes and is helping them do what they most want to do in a supportive, generally way, although it's not always easy. So still that relationship, it's a very different one than someone who sits in judgment. So we're going to start by looking in a little more depth at the 4 building blocks of hope. We'll go into it in just a little more detail than we did before. But as we do this, I'm always struck by the fact that in a room with 70 people, there are going to be a lot of stories that are already there. And a lot of what I'm teaching you are things you already know. So what I like to do is break out into groups, and either Cari or Taryn, whoever is doing the breakout groups, what I'd like to have is groups of 5 or 6 people that you're going to share stories with each other that inspire you. Before I go into the breakout groups, take a moment to reflect and think about things that you've seen in the past time since March when coronavirus hit, from your own personal life, but mostly from your staff or clients, things that show resilience that inspire you. We'll take a minute to do that before we go into the breakout rooms. When you get in the breakout room, just go around, introduce yourselves, your first name, where you are, what kind of work you do, and then share those stories. If we do 10 minutes, each person will have a minute or so to tell their story, and then some time for discussion. And then we're going to come back in the chat box and share those stories. And the reason for this is I don't think that hope is anything new. I think it's just changing how we view ourselves and our work. And I think if we take a few moments to reflect on those stories, that will drive home everything else we're doing in this session. So are we all ready for the breakout groups? Okay. So Taryn, do you want to take over and send people to their corners?
I've got it.
Cari.
This is Cari. Yep. So you're going to automatically go in. You have 10 minutes. I'm going to broadcast out what you see on the screen here, so you remember what you're to discuss, and then there'll be a 60-second countdown when we're going to be coming back into the main room. So here we go.